If you live in Alamance County, get ready for the 1 cent property tax increase to help pay for the new Alamance County Courthouse. I'll tell you more about it right after this. Well, hello and welcome to Alamance County Talks Politics. My name is Keith, and today we're talking about the new proposed Alamance County Courthouse. And today we're going to be looking at this first clip because this is going to be a very big expenditure for the people of Alamance County. And I want you to hear how each commissioner responds to this proposed potentially 1 cent or upwards of 0.84 to 1 cent tax increase for the Alamance County taxpayers. So let me bring you up to date to where we are on this courthouse. In this meeting, County Manager Heidi York put forth this slide, and it explains what has happened in Alamance County. And as you can see here, you can see that on 8/19/2024, the board approved construction and notice for a 3-story addition for about $37 million with funding allocated as follows. They took $10 million from the from revenue replacement. I believe it was leftover COVID money is what they said. You had $5 million from capital reserves. Then you have to borrow $22 million for the remainder to be financed for 20 years. Now, on 9/3/2024, the board approved renovation to the J.B. Allen jury room into a previous courtroom and use and annex it as a new jury room. Then she talks about the board approved on 9/16/2024. The board approved a construction manager. 12/16/2024, the board approved contract with CRA for design of the courthouse for $3.1 million. And the board also approved an amendment to the contract with CRA for $336,105. Now, so see here, you've got the way that the expense, $37 million, and this is the proposed way. This is the funding mechanisms that they're looking at using. $10 million for, I believe it was COVID funds, $5 million from capital reserves. So at least $22 million to be financed over the period of 20 years. Now, here is the repayment of this debt service. As we see the principal of $22 million, the interest rate is estimated at 5%, term 20-year principal payment to interest payments. Here we have the fiscal year debt service payment is estimated at $2,172,500. Fiscal year 24-25 value of the penny is $2,575,793. Therefore, this is the potential tax increase needed of 0.84 cents of a penny to pay for this courthouse. Now, so here we are. We're looking at having a potential tax increase for this new courthouse. So there you have it. We've got $37 million courthouse that they're proposing. Now you're looking at the ways that we're going to have to pay for it. But the county commissioners here, it sounds like they have different opinions on this. And we'll look at this right now. So notice, if you will, here, Ed Priola in this next clip, Commissioner Priola asked for cuts in the government to offset or remove the 1 cent property tax increase. So if you reduce that 0.84 cent of cost, or about $2.2 million, you wouldn't need that 0.84 cent property tax increase. Let's listen to Commissioner Priola.
At some point, I'd like to see something where we have offsets on other areas of county government rather than a 0.84 cent tax increase. Just want to go on record with that. So
there's Commissioner Ed Priola. When they were talking about the $37 million, he went on record saying that he would want other cuts so that property tax increase is not needed. And I think that is a legitimate and realistic option to cut cost and waste in government. I will say this again. Just like the federal government has a lot of bloat, a lot of waste, a lot of fraud, a lot of abuse, and we've seen that time and time again by Elon Musk and what the Doge committee has brought out. The state government, our state government also, I'm sure, has this, just like our county government does as well. Now, I'm not saying it's to the same size or the magnitude of the federal government. But I'm saying that if you're sitting there telling me that there is no waste in our Alamance County government, that you can't make cuts then I would say you're sadly mistaken. You're saying, well, Keith, where are they? Well, I don't know because I can't get into the government and find out. If I had access, I'm sure I could locate waste. I'm sure we could. And one of the ways you do that is through efficiency. You know, we do these salary studies. We try to bring up the county employees, their salaries according to what regional or people in other counties are making. I have no problem with that. The question is, are they efficient? Are all the employees needed? Or could one person do the job of the two? And in many times in the government sectors, we see a lot of waste. Unfortunately, there's a lot of waste. In fact, if you could talk to several people in the county government, I'll guarantee you they would point out people who are not earning their pay, people who are lazy. But nobody will ask them about that. But anyway, Ed talks about he wants them to find cuts in the government to offset that 0.84 cent property tax increase. But now Commissioner Priola asked another question. He wants to find out from the people who were the county manager and her assistants, how did we arrive at the $37 million? So listen to what Commissioner Priola asked, which is a good question. You've got to find out, how did we arrive at $37 million? Listen to what he says.
Last time we met, I was asking you for the accounting of what buckets we had when we came up with that 37 million, or at least the calculation of how we came up with that. Because to me, it's a black box. Looking in, I don't see where we figured, what models we're using for that construction, or what accounting for the cost of materials. Usually you do it from the top down and the bottom up when you come up with those kind of figures. And I've never heard what we have done in that respect. So if you could enlighten, I'd sure appreciate it.
So there, Commissioner Priola is asking the county manager, the assistant county managers, how did we arrive at the $37 million for the price of the courthouse, which is a good question. There's Commissioner Paisley explaining as best he can how we arrived at the $37 million price tag for the courthouse.
This thing started out at $99 million, and that was going to expand for the needs of the next 25 to 50 years. And nobody, taxpayers included, supported that. Well, there were some people that supported it, but very few. It's now down to 37 million. And if we can do that, that will give us the current needs, but it will not expand it beyond that. So I think we deal with what we're dealing with now. Taxpayers cannot afford another 8-cent tax increase that occurred in 2019. And so we just have to be judicious with the court system. We need to be affordable for the taxpayers. And I think that's where we're headed. Thank you.
So after listening to Commissioner Paisley, he talked about how we started out at like $97 million for the courthouse. And now they've got it down to $37 million. And he says that the initial $99 million would have met the needs for the courthouse for the next so many years. For the next 25 to 50 years, I believe he says. But now this courthouse that we're building at $37 million are potentially going to build at $37 million will meet the immediate needs of the judicial system. So with that being said, Commissioner Paisley also made the statement that he didn't want us to increase taxes like we did in 2019 when we increased them by 8 cents. So it doesn't seem like he's on board for not raising or not on board for increasing your taxes by the 0.84. I would have wished he would have echoed what Commissioner Priola said and said, let's find the cuts. Let's reduce the cost of government to help offset this. But it almost seems like to me that Commissioner Paisley is satisfied with the potential tax increase, giving the courts what they need, and also keeping the tax rate or the tax increase at this point low. But one thing that you got to remember at this point, and while I'm doing this video, they're working at the budget. They're working on the budget, and I think the county manager's budget proposed a 1.59 or 1.6, close to that area, tax increase. So if we get that tax increase, and then at the end of this year, this new 0.84 cents or whatever it is goes into effect, you're looking at over a 2 cent, 2.25, maybe something like that, 2.15% tax increase. Now, I'm speculating at this point. I wish they would say, hey, we can cut costs in the government to remove the 0.84, and also we'll keep a flat line of holding the line, as they said, and not raise taxes at all, property taxes at all. Find the cuts. And but I don't know that that's where he's leaning towards. I think John's going to be satisfied with a 0.84 cents. Also, I think he's going to be satisfied with some type of a tax increase. I hope he's not, because that would not be good. That just would not be good. So, as I said, but anyway, we're going to move now to Commissioner Thompson. Commissioner Thompson, after Commissioner Paisley said that about the $37 million, listen to what Commissioner Thompson states about, she thinks that they should have put this on a ballot for the Alamance County voter to vote on, whether they wanted the courthouse or not. Let's listen to her words.
Just one more thing. 37 million is just a couple of million under what the ACC bond was. And the public in this county got to vote that for an educational bond. That is a lot of money for 5 people to just pass through. If I'm going to be paying for it, I want an opportunity to vote for it.
So there's Commissioner Thompson's position on this. And she's right. We passed a school bond, I believe 2018 for ACC for like $39 million. Now the 5 of them it's being put before the Board of Commissioners. Now they're going to be the ones to decide whether they're going to put $37 million of debt on the taxpayer, or at least $22 million. So Pam is saying, Commissioner Thompson is saying, this should have went before the voters to be able to vote on this. They voted on the school bond. They should be able to vote on this. And I think maybe she's got a point. Maybe the taxpayer should have a say in this. And we will. If they continue to raise taxes the way they're doing, we will have a say in this. And so she's coming out against the courthouse. She thinks we could have made do with what we had, save that money, and put it into the school system or other whatever other county needs were. So that's another position. That's where Commissioner Thompson was focused on. But now we have Commissioner Allen, who is the most recent member, I believe, her and Commissioner Priola. She says that, listen to what she says about it. Listen to what she says. I'm going to let her speak, and then I'm going to, I'll speak after she does.
I just wanted to add too that I'm against increasing taxes, period. We are stewards of the taxpayers' money, and we are elected by the taxpayers here.
So there you have Commissioner Allen stating that she's against raising property taxes. But there's one caveat to this. In the same meeting, right in that same paragraph speech that she gave that I should have clipped it, let you heard it. She is not against a sales tax increase. She wants the quarter-cent sales tax increase. She really believes it's going to be the end all of all, or it's going to help tremendously in Alamance County, which is going to add another quarter. And she says it's so minimal. Listen, it's never. Steve Carter made a comment in this same meeting. I think it was this meeting or the last one. No, it may have been the most recent meeting. He made a statement about the school system. And he said, it's been said that the school system, they can never get enough money. Well, Commissioner Allen and Commissioner Carter didn't really say much. He asked one question, but I'm going to address both of them here. I've addressed the other 3. I'm going to address them 2 here. Why is it that you say that about the school system? And do you really believe the county ever has enough money? I mean, I believe the same could be said about the county. So you really need to be getting in there behind these department managers and finding out where the efficiency and inefficiency is. and reducing the cost. So, with that being said, the question is, what are we going to do? What direction will they proceed in to pay for this courthouse? And let me ask you this question. How will they pay for the courthouse? At the end of this year, you're going to know whether your taxes are going to go up another 0.84 cents or higher or not. So what's one of the ways, if you could do what Commissioner Priola asked you to do, get into the county and find the cuts. Find the cuts. And to tell me there's not waste and inefficiencies in the county government, I just don't believe it. I remember Commissioner Carter said, well, find them for me. Find them. Well, we will if you would let us get behind the line and see. We should have our own Doge in Alamance County. But you can't get beyond the commissioners, and you can't get beyond the county manager and the assistants to get back in there and see. So, you're telling us to find them. We can't get there because nobody will let us. And we're the ones who are the taxpayers. We're the ones who vote. Not against people who work for the county government getting increase. Not against that at all. We're for that. If they're good and they're efficient and they do a good job. But there are inefficiencies in the Alamance County government. That's one way you could locate that waste and offset, as Commissioner Priola mentioned. If you live in Alamance County, you're going to want to pay attention to this because your taxes will increase. We want to pay close attention to the Alamance County government, and we just want to make sure they're efficient. We want to make sure they're not wasting money. We'll be talking. I've got a couple other videos that I need to be doing that I'm going to do as well. So with that being said, pay attention to the Alamance County Courthouse. Whether your taxes are going to go up, call your Alamance County Commissioner and tell them, we don't want a tax increase. And, well, that's all I'm going to say here. My name is Keith. This is Alamance County Talks Politics. Until next time, take care.